We should be going live. All right. Hello, ladies. Welcome. I'm going live with some past clients of mine who've been in a group program with me and are going to come to share their experience. So I'm really excited to have them on because it's one thing to hear from me about how I work in my program, and it's another to actually hear from someone who's been through the experience. So most of you have probably heard that this week I'm launching my Visibility Mastermind, which I've been really excited about because I know that when you're in the thick of it, when you're trying to get visibility when it comes to your service-based business, it's helpful to have someone in your back pocket, an expert who can help you make that brand visible. And so what the Visibility Mastermind is it's a group program with other women like you in a service-based business. And what I'm going to do is help you kind of bring your brand to that next level. Like maybe you've started with some of the pieces, you have maybe your colors, your fonts, but you're not sure if it's quite connecting with your target audience, or maybe you don't even connect with it. So it's going to help you bring that to the next level and then also put it to work. So what does that look like on the daily basis of like putting out posts, putting out social media content, having someone review those things for you, making sure it's in alignment. So we're going to do all of that as a group. The two ladies here today were in a program that I held previously that had a little bit of a different focus, but it was also a brand program. So we worked together to create their brands. So there's a lot of similarities that I thought that they could bring to the table and share. So with that, I'm going to check in with the group, make sure we're showing up live, and I'm going to have both the ladies introduce themselves. So Katie, let us know like a little bit about you, your business, and what you do.
Okay, I'm Katie Smith-Hoover, and I'm a certified reflexologist, which means I work on reflex areas on the hands and feet. And my business is called Sandpoint Reflexology. I've been certified for 4 years and working for 5 years. And I've slowly built clientele, but I recently moved out of I was renting to begin with like a cheap room in a spa, but I had enough clientele built up that I wanted to move out on my own. And I seriously needed a lot of branding, and I'm not very good at design. So I reached out to Allie and went through the class. And it was very useful as I was moving out on my own and building my own place of business.
Great. Okay, Shannon, what about you? Tell us a little bit about you and your business.
Hi, I'm Shannon Bombach, and my husband and I are artists, and we're trying to pursue just our art career and getting a website and stuff like that, but we kept running into needing a logo, and I didn't really understand branding, but I kept running into things that I didn't really know how to do. But since I am an artist, I felt like it would be worth kind of learning some of how to do the design. I didn't really just want to use a design off of Canva. So anyway, I came across Allie's course, and it seemed like the perfect way to be able to have guidance and get those things done so that I could launch something that I'm actually feel like is actually ours and stands for who we are. So that's how I came to the course. So
well, it's so fun to have you both here because it was just a really rewarding process for me to watch you guys kind of come into your own with your own brand. And if anybody's joining us, say hi, let us know where you're watching from, and put #replay if you're joining us later. So first off, maybe Shannon, tell me a little bit about like your struggles with branding before the program, like maybe some of the questions you had, or like the things that were like that you were uncertain about that caused you to maybe look for help in that area.
Well, I really had no idea how you could I had no experience really with taking a sketch and turning it into a logo. So I knew that like I could sketch logos, but I didn't have any idea how that became the actual digital image that could be used throughout the brand. And then I also didn't really understand like the whole, branding is who you are, like the feeling you want people to have when they come across you, all the ways colors affect that. And as an artist, I feel like I love colors, but I love all colors. So it was like really hard to think. I just didn't know where to even start. And so I felt overwhelmed and just like, I wanted to have something that I knew that I could be confident about putting out there, and just have it seem like, be apparent to other people that this is a real business. It's not just like, just a hobby, as people like to say about artists. So I just wanted to, so yeah, my biggest struggles were definitely just like all of the technical stuff that goes into it. And then just, there was so much I didn't even know that I didn't know that now I know. So.
Yeah, awesome. All right. How about you, Katie?
Can you just say the question one more time?
Like, what were some of the struggles that you had with knowing how to move forward with your brand, or even just like your thought process about what you needed, that kind of thing?
Good. Okay, great. So I'm a pretty creative person, and my mind swirls in like 12 different paths at a time. And I'm pretty good at picking art or images or color, but I'm very bad at putting it together. And I don't want anything to do with the design process, because I'm just not good at the online design stuff, and I don't want to learn. I mean, I know what my strengths are, and that's not one of them. And so Allie's a personal friend of mine, and I reached out to her to say, hey, do you know where I can get a cheap logo? And she says, look at this class, and that I'm offering. And I'm so glad I did, because I got to be part of every step of designing my logo, but I had the support I needed for the areas I'm not strong in. So I went through the class, and she really did give me support in areas where I was like, listen, I just don't have time for this. I can't wrap my brain around this stuff right now. But I was able to still pick all those tiny little design pieces that really made it reflect me and the mood that I'm trying to present to my ideal clients. But I'll say, even more than just a logo, Allie had us go through the whole branding process. So I have a guide with all of the colors in my brand and my font and everything, and I have that hanging at my studio. So every time I bring a new item in, I check it against this branding, and that part has been wonderful for me, because now my new studio and all of the like furniture or plants or whatever that I've had to buy, it all is very cohesive, and it reflects my brand. I mean, as much as like I wear the clothes that I buy to wear to work are branded with my colors, which might seem strange, but really when you're working in the service industry, you're putting off such a mood that it's just been super. The guide has been very good for me. And then what I also appreciated and needed was I'm not sure how to say it, but there is a business piece to the branding program that was helpful to me also, just as far as being surrounded by female entrepreneurs who it was just a supportive environment. So
awesome. What were some of your fears going in? I'll start with you, Katie. When you first started the program, you're like, what were some of the maybe like those things that you worried about, like as you started?
That I wouldn't have time to finish it, or the commitment level to finish it. I thought that I just wanted someone to do it for me. So I didn't know that I would be invested enough in the process. But what I liked was the videos were short. The descriptions of the videos were not so long. And, I could finish reading through it in 5 minutes. I think the longest video was like 12 minutes. And so it was clear and concise, to the point. And the steps were easy to follow. So once the commitment for me, with the time commitment for me was in place, it was very easy to follow. And there was not a lot of like fluff. I got what I needed through the classes. So I think it was a time thing. And it was also I just didn't want to come up with a sloppy logo that I'd want to change in a year or two. And I don't think I might not ever change it. I don't know. I love it.
That's awesome. What about you, Shannon?
Yeah, it's pretty similar for me because I have 5 kids and my youngest is 2, and I just felt like I really wanted to do this. And so I had like the desire, but I was a little bit worried about how I was gonna be able to fit in like everything and make sure I didn't have a crying baby when we were having our Zoom meetings and stuff like that. But it was nice because you're both moms and you definitely understand. And so I definitely had, I was nursing my baby a few times on the meetings, but I think that was the biggest thing. And I think that my level of desire just trumped that fear because I just felt like this is it. I want to do this. I trust Allie, and I feel like this was just such a good opportunity to be able to invest in something to move forward with somebody who I knew I could trust. And so I'm definitely glad that I did. And I feel like I guess the only other fear was, it wasn't really a fear, and it just came up later. The struggle with using Adobe Photoshop was challenging, and it's always changing. So that kind of led to some like difficulties, but there's like nothing anyone can do about that. It's just part of like, there's always going to be like a little bit of a learning curve, and using YouTube and Allie's, like, you just helped me get through it. So that was the biggest challenge, I think.
Tell us a little bit more about like the actual process of working through, your branding in the program. And Shannon, we can start with you.
Okay. Okay. So much of it was actually just really like reflecting inward and like thinking about who you really want to be and what you really want to provide and how you want the world to see you, and like what part of the world you're actually trying to talk to. And so I think it was like sometimes it might not feel like it looks like you're getting anywhere, because so much of it is like just thinking through all these things and maybe writing notes about your target market and market research and stuff like that. And then once we got to where we were like making our mood boards, that was probably the most like really exciting, because it's this visual. I'm very visual. So seeing the colors and like creating this beautiful thing that represents all the feelings and that you want to give was a big step, I feel like. And then moving, I think from there was like moving into the logo, and that was really fun. And it felt like I was not going to be able to come up with a logo. It felt like so hard. And then all of a sudden it was there. So it's like so many sketches and all of them seem wrong. And then something happens and find the right one. And then I really enjoyed looking at fonts, and just it starts to become like almost like this art project where you're putting all these visual elements together, and so just got more and more exciting. And yeah, I don't know if there's anything else about the process you want me to talk about.
No, that's great. And so and like we said, we talked a little before, you guys were more in the brand creation stage. This group program focused more on like starting from A to Z from scratch all the way to your brand. And the mastermind will be more about like refining those pieces. So if you've had those pieces before, just tweaking them up. Because I think one of you'd mentioned like a lot of it is in the little details and the nuances, and like you bring it all together, and all of a sudden it's like fun to see that come to life. And that was cool with you, Shannon, too, is like seeing the iterations of your logo. And it's like, okay, there's something here, but we need just this little more tweaks, or, just one little more thing. And then you would come again and it'd be like, okay, well, what about if we tried, this? And I know like that can be kind of a fraught process of like, seeing the potential in, or like thinking like, okay, I think we're done. And it was fun to finally see it at the end, right? Like when you actually have your brand all together and it was like, okay, this is it, right?
Yeah.
So like, what was like that like for you to finally like, wrestle through that process and then like see the end result?
Yeah, that was really just so rewarding, because it was like, and my husband wasn't doing it, but he was like there along the way, like part of every decision, and super supportive. But so it was really fun, because it was hard. Like there was definitely a phase where I was just like, this isn't working. I don't know. I don't, like, there's a million leaf logos out there. How am I going to make my leaf logo? Or should I just do it? And trees too. So because we're Treebrook Studios and we wanted to kind of encompass that, but we didn't want to be another logo that you see everywhere. So and it just felt like, it really did feel like this is impossible. But then it just seemed like once I got, I don't really know how it just like started to come together, and just the little tweaks that you think you don't like realize how just a tiny little shift can make such a big difference. And that was really nice having your designer, because as a painter and drawer, it's not as technical in the same ways as like a designer who's like, well, let's put this here. And I don't know, it's very different. And so it was really nice having that professional eye there to help get things like really where they should be. And I'm sure that, it will possibly evolve still, but right now I feel like it's a really, really good start. So.
Well, I love how it turned out. We'll have to share some of it with the group
Okay.
as well, so people can see what you guys came up with. What about you, Katie? Tell me a little bit about that process.
I think the most, outside of the actual seeing my logo and the colors, the most, sorry, that was my dog. The most rewarding process was the very beginning, where you had us really think about who our ideal clients are and what mood or what service, what emotion we're trying to provide our clients with, which is huge in body work. And so that foundation of trying to figure out who my ideal client is has really, it's been a foundation for everything as my business is growing. And the more I learn about business growth, the more I learn about how important the ideal client is. And so it's just super helpful. The foundational pieces that you had us go through have been super helpful as I move forward in growing my business. So for me, it was beyond branding, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know if anyone listens to my trainings in this group, they know how much I emphasize like thoughtful decisions and strategy when it comes to branding. And we actually just wrapped up a challenge about specifically focusing on client target market called Clients Who Click. And so now in moving forward for those women who did that challenge, we would dig a lot more into messaging, a lot more into that like competitor research portion. There's other elements of strategy that kind of wrap it out that you guys did too as part of your process. But I know sometimes that's the like hard work, because like Shannon says, you feel like you're doing all this work but not moving forward. But then all of a sudden when you actually do the work, it's like you spring forward, because that part makes it easier, right? So, and you guys touched a little bit on this, but how did having guidance through this process, how is that different or helpful than maybe just going it alone? Like, what do you think about, Katie?
If I had not gone through the class, I think I would have come up with a logo that somebody else had. And already, I probably would have used papyrus font, which is kind of a little joke between with the class, because part of it was talking about different fonts. And when Allie took us through some of the font classes, I started noticing everywhere in my town how similar fonts were. So, and then I think that my font, part of what happens with my personality is my brain gets cluttered. And so the things I create get cluttered. And what if I had gone it alone, I think that my logo would have been not as clean. You know, I would have had too many colors, too many fonts, too many pictures or images or whatever. And this sort of minimalist look to my logo has permeated the whole design of my new studio. So I know for sure that everything would have been a lot more cluttered had I not gone through the program.
That's awesome. And that's so common. That's very common as people feel. It's very common to look at something and appreciate simplicity in other people's brands. And then when you're trying to do it for yourself, you feel this temptation, or you feel like you have to pack in all this stuff to encapsulate what you're trying to say. And so, yeah, a lot of it is stripping things out, stripping things down. So that's part of it too. Okay. So Shannon, how do you feel about what you came up with, your brand now?
I'm really excited about it. And we ended up deciding to have art storefronts for they're a company that helps artists make websites where you can actually sell through the website. And it seemed like the best option for what we're doing. And so, but it's really exciting because I can just give them my brand package, and then it can get plugged into everywhere on the website. And I'm excited. I'm so excited to see how that is going to look. And I think a lot of people that use art storefronts don't have a brand. So they kind of might, at least starting out. And so they might look more like it just looks very basic and like a online shop. And so I'm excited for ours to just really reflect who we are, and I can tweak things if I need to, but I feel like it's just going to be so nice having all those things already done. And I think that if I hadn't found this program, I wouldn't have done any of this. I wouldn't have created a logo or picked colors. I would have probably just been I wouldn't have had anything that I felt like I could. It would probably just be one more reason that I wouldn't move forward, because it's scary and it's putting yourself out there. And so it just become another excuse. I still don't have my logo. So I'm really excited about what we have. Yeah.
I know. I can't wait to see when you launch and what that looks like and how that feels. Because I know it's going to be awesome. So, and I think that they're a great fit for what you do. In fact, it was a company that my husband and I were looking into. And so I shared it with Shannon, and I'm very excited because I think as an artist too, it's very important that your brand reflects your style. And I think you really hit on that. So that's exciting. What about you, Katie? How do you feel about your brand?
Oh, I love it. I absolutely love it. I think it's a perfect reflection of well, let's back up. So being in the spa for 5 years was affordable, and there was, the infrastructure was there. So going out on my own was scary, because it was a bigger financial commitment. And then there's just a lot of infrastructure things and support that I didn't have in place yet. So having the branding done and bringing it all together in my space, I absolutely love it. I don't think it would have ever turned out nearly as good without the branding class. And then I kind of piggyback on one of the things Shannon said about the branding kit that we created. It has all of our colors, all of our logos, our mood board. And I meant to say our fonts also. And what I like about that is now I'm at a place where I'm looking at hiring someone to help me with social media posts and designs and stuff. And so I have a woman in mind who she already does Canva for other people in town that I know. And I like that I can just share my mood board or my brand kit with her, so she can easily just pull elements from that to make everything cohesive.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know this stuff existed. So it's huge.
Awesome. I know for you too, I mean, I talked a lot about sort of your brand kind of filtering into your client experience. And for you, that's especially important because when someone comes into your studio and they want a treatment, and you're trying to provide like healing and relaxation, your brand is either helping to do that or taking away from it. And I think what you came up with is just creates the environment for people to be able to have a successful treatment.
It
Do you
does.
agree?
And I have people who walk in and they open the door to like the entryway or the gathering room, and then the treatment room is in the back, but they open the door and they just go, "Oh, it's so relaxing in here," or, "Oh, you've created such a safe place." I mean, I'm hearing verbal feedback from clients that are exactly the words that I chose, that I wanted to reflect in my space and with my logo. So it's pretty amazing how that all came together.
That is great. That's so fun. It's so fun to see it put to work and to get those reactions.
Yeah.
And so that was actually kind of my next question is like, is the results that you've seen in terms of response from clients or just like has there been anything else that you've seen like kind of as you've applied your brand that you know is in terms of results or outcomes?
I think, let's see, I've made business cards and a rack card, which is like the third with my services and everything and a little description. That's getting good feedback. I was able to finally create some Facebook and Instagram group or for my business. And people are just accepting it. I don't know if it has anything to do with the brand, but I've noticed that people are like, "Oh yeah, okay, I know what this is." Like there's a quicker acceptance or friending rate with those two groups, which I was thankful for.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the clients just love it. They love the new space. They love the feeling that they get when they come in.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. Okay, Shannon, and what about, I know that you are still in the process of launching that site and getting those things out there, but like, what about, I mean, we talked a little bit before, even just about like your own internal results or what are some things that you've seen since you've had a brand in the momentum of your business or your own confidence about it, those kinds of things?
Yeah, it's definitely a confidence thing. I think that I feel like just like I feel like it's just like is part of a puzzle. There's a lot of pieces that go into like the whole thing, and especially if you want to like primarily sell or be seen through online, which is kind of how, I mean, we will work with some galleries too, but a lot of it will be online, or at least that's where people will initially find us. And so it just feels like as an artist, every piece of art is kind of can feel very close to like as like it's like a part of me almost, and it's very vulnerable putting it out there. And especially getting just starting, because I'm not a super extroverted person anyway, so social media and everything is just sort of challenging anyways. But then when it's like this vulnerable piece of you that you're putting out there, that can be even more challenging. So I think every little thing that you can do for me to everything that I can have set up that I feel like is legitimate and like good business practices is going to help me to keep going forward and go through the fear and stuff. So that is huge for me. But mostly I'm really excited to see it all. I still, you know, it's like going to be this big thing because it's been waiting, like it's been ready and waiting to get put out into the light. So
yeah, I've seen that so many times with my clients of like, it gives you like this credibility and this authority that you can kind of step into and feelings of like, man, I'm a legitimate business, right? And that filters out to your audience, like they can see and feel that. And so then that helps build trust. It's just kind of this trickle down effect that really can help a business or a business owner like step
Yeah.
into the space that they belong in, and really show the world that they're excellent at what they do. So I know that we're going to see that from you as well. So Shannon, what would you say if people were considering this program, this mastermind, which again is a little bit of a different focus than what you guys did, but also a lot of similarities. What would you say to people who are on the fence?
I think that just wherever you are in your business, whatever, because it sounds like it's a little bit ahead of where I was. So it would, I just think that knowing what I know about Allie's service and her knowledge behind it all, I think that it's going to move you forward significantly. So it's just, if you have the desire to move forward and are ready to commit to it, then I'd say just go for it, because it will definitely improve. It will take you, I feel like, for me, it seems like Allie knew very well where I was and where I wanted to get to, and she didn't try to like force me into a mold. It was like, I feel like she's gonna listen and help you reach your goals, so within reason of her program. So yeah, I would say go for it, definitely.
Awesome, thank you. What about you, Katie?
Well, when you asked that question, the word that came to mind was our class is called the Amplified Brand, and so immediately I thought, well, it will amplify your business, because that's you can do it on your own, but you might not stay on track. You won't have as good of a product. You won't have the support you need. So why not sign up for a mastermind, get the support and encouragement and education that you need in a time frame so that you get to your goal? I would say absolutely do it.
Oh, great, thank you. And what about as far as like, what was the advantage of working in a group program as opposed to maybe just one-on-one, or like what part of that did you enjoy?
I enjoyed watching. Well, I didn't feel quite as alone or lost, because Shannon and I sometimes would get stuck. I remember specifically we got stuck kind of in this, not stuck, but we got to a place where we both had to really buckle down and really think things through. And it took us kind of a similar amount of time. So knowing that she was going through it too made me realize, I'm not failing at this. It's just a process that I had to go through. And I liked seeing her brand and what she came up with, because she's an artist and I'm not. And our products were so different. I mean, everything about our logos are completely different. So it was just fun to see how her creative side brought in, because she drew her own logo. I didn't draw anything. It was just fun to see how that came together for her. And I think at one point she was like holding a baby or nursing a baby or something. And that kind of just made me feel better about, so we were also going through like the end of school, which is insane when you have a first grader and a junior higher, because there's so much going on. And then it was not a week. I was complaining about that online, and it wasn't like a week later where Shannon was like, oh my gosh, I'm going through that now. This is why we're slowing down. So kind of having that outside, okay, this is why I'm not progressing as quickly as I was at the beginning of the class, or et cetera. It was kind of nice just to have that solidarity.
Yeah, because life happens, and that's the context that we're doing it in, right? We're building businesses in the context of our life, not in the vacuum, right? Or out in this other separate place. So yeah, we have to adapt to that. Any thoughts for you as far as the advantage of it being a group program?
Yeah, I totally agree with Katie on everything she said too. And just because I think self-doubt will find anything to grab onto for me. Might be like, oh, you're just failing at this. Or so it is nice to have that, just knowing that everybody has their challenges. But another big thing is just, it's amazing how adding another person even if it's only 3 people in the group, it adds so much accountability, like, because you know that if you don't make it, then that means you're going to have to like work with like it's more complicated to reschedule, and it just makes it so for me, I'm like, I've got to make this work. And it definitely helped with just getting through the course and not rescheduling every time something comes up, because sometimes you just have to do it with your kids there and get through it.
Yep. We all are there with you. So I totally understand that part of business too, because with 2 kids. Well, thank you ladies so much. I really, really appreciate your thoughts and adding your perspective, your time, because I know you, especially as mom business owners, your time is priceless. So that means a lot to me that you would take the time to do this. So if any of you are watching and you have questions about this program, you're not sure how that's going to fit into your business, your timeline, anything like that, come hop on a call with me, put call in the comments, and I'm happy to sit down with you, talk a little bit about where your brand is and where I think that we could take it. As a member of the mastermind, you also get access to the course that I have called the Amplified Brand, which is basically what these ladies went through in a group program format. But you also will get kind of one-on-one review of applying your brand as well. So would love to talk to you about that. If you're curious, even if it's just like an inkling, or if you have doubts, we can sit down. And if it's not a good fit, I will tell you. I'm happy to be honest about who I think this is for and whether I think I could really help you. I do have early bird pricing that's available right now, and it's closing tonight. So even if you book a call and it's next week, that pricing will still apply to you. So if you've got any sort of doubts about that, act now. And with that, I think we're going to wrap up, but thank you ladies. And I hope you both have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
All right. Take care. We'll talk soon.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.